Hello, everyone. My name is Teresa. I'm head of Android engineering at Tide, leading the design and development of the next gen of the mobile application to enter global market, starting from building a prototype to launch an alpha project with a small group of engineers to support Tide's mission of the globalization of our platform. So Tide is a UK leading digital business platform. We support business owners from set up their business through taking them completely to the next level. Today, I'm going to talk about how to internationalization your mobile application. So let's begin. Before we dive in, let's look at a few keywords definitions. First, globalization. In short, it's called G1110. G11N. It's a complete cycle of planning and identifying global market for your project. It prepares your app at a high strategy level to enter market globally. It builds with global audience in mind. Next, internationalization. In short, it's i18n. Yeah, it's a long word to pronounce. It's usually referred to the development and design of a product to a wide range of languages, regions, and cultures. It prepares the app at design level to the next phase, not actually implementing it. So after the application is internationalized, it can be then localized to a specific region. Next one is localization. In short, it's i18n. This is where engineers spend most time dealing with. It's the process of adapting an application to a certain language and culture. Localization involves translation, UI, date and time formats, currency, icons, and layout. So overall, you usually start from globalization at high level, then design the architecture to make it i18n safe. And then we make it localizable, so it can be then translated into different things. And of course, when I first hear we're going to work on a one platform project, I was really excited. Then I started to panic. I started to write down questions, and the question list just expanded after every meeting. The whole story starts from our first launch back in 2017. Until today, we are 5% of the UK market with 300,000 open members. So in general, we did well for our business in the UK with a very good customer base. Nevertheless, in order to bring our product to next level and to support even more business users, our plan is to enter the global market with a goal to launch the first international app in Indian market by end of this year, becoming the real financial platform for micro, small, medium business, supporting their day-to-day business with our one platform project. And in order to achieve our plan, we have to solve our issues one by one. So first, we are building a greenfield project, and what will be the most suitable framework? We all know how to build native applications and the process to maintain it. Is there a new way of doing things? Then how can we distribute a light app? Because we want to support multiple regions, and in each region, there are similarities together with varieties. What's the best strategy to support it while making sure the app bundle is light? How should we release? If we want to make changes of the app in one country, how should we release a new app? Or do we release a new app for all regions? How do we build an efficient pipeline? How do we build the steps for shared modules and minimize the impact of localized module? If I change code for one module, Do I need to run the whole pipeline from scratch? How can we test this project? Can we automate the entire end-to-end testing process? We want to implement BDD as well. How can we roll it out? The last but not least, we also need to think about the team, which is a key element of all. Not just we need to upscaling, but also upskilling the existing team members. So with all these questions, we started our journey. And of course, we didn't have answers for all of them. We define and refine while we go. We build small features and increment on top. So now I'm going to take you through of how to tackle it one by one. In the beginning, we have one application for a specific market, where our app logic is deeply coupled with everything for this country. It actually worked well because we can quickly write new features and make a release. Now, I'm sure most of us have been through the same situation. The next phase of growth, from one app for one country to one app for multiple countries. In this phase, we need to find ways to localize our application, adding translations, support left to right, right to left layout, add new app icons, theme, color in order to adapt to different culture. And as your product grows, there will be additional features required for a specific region. For example, you might be expected to provide driving license ID in order to complete the sign-up process for UK customers, but requirement might change for another country. Your app might support one type of payment for most of regions, but not for all of them. Therefore, you started to create unique journeys for some region. Then slowly you realize you are building multiple apps for multiple countries. How this process, how can we simplify this process? Our goal in the end is to build a one platform project for our globalization strategy, and we localize it for each region from one code base. In the beginning, our team is quite small, and we are able to co-locate them with cross-functional team. From time to time, engineers practice pair programming, and it's easy to arrange in the same time zone. But later on, the team has expanded into more country and different time zone. A pure co-located team just can't scale. So we have to move into cross-functional team, but distribute them. Where the PO might work 5 hours ahead of you. So the key to make it work is to learn how to communicate well, develop stories that can be managed across time zones. And of course, everybody has to become independent by nature, and we are also fully committed to Agile. Now let's look at our build development process. First, we started with quickly build a prototype with a chosen framework to taste the water and until we're happy with the technology. After making decisions and committed to the framework, we started to design the i18n safe architecture, which is, of course, framework agnostic. The next step is not rush into split your project into modules, but keep everything under one roof till you fully understand the domain. We applied domain-driven concept when we modularized the project. We didn't adapt fully DDD, but we took a few good concepts from it, like the way to encapsulate rich domain objects, building block, and so on. Next is probably the most important item, modules. A lot of applications nowadays has modules and they are modularized. Having multiple modules in your application doesn't mean your project is modularized. There are things you want to achieve when module your project. Our goal is to ensure we can release on demand. That means if one team changed a feature module, the impact is isolated and is minimal. After all that, in the end, you are probably ready to make your first MVP. This is a high-level overview of our application layout. On top, we have the app module, which is a thin layer. The purpose of it is to enter the app, set environment, and control the routing flows. Below, there is a core module. It's a collection of reusable domain objects. They are generic models that are used in feature modules. So once you define your core, you need to protect it because changes here goes everywhere. And every time when something changed, the cost is high. On the left side of the core module is the feature module. In there, we split the common global functions from localized functions at the file structure level. In this way, it forces us to decouple country-specific logic from country-agnostic logic. And in order to make your app i18n safe, you need to make sure it's dynamic. Make it as dynamic as possible. Avoid hard-code your flow and to allow free movement. One example can be our routing system. So once a feature is completed, the developer needs to scan and register his flow into an array and add logic to assemble the flow, allowing country to be injected in. The flow is switched by a given country or region name. And in the end, we inject this flow back to the app. All this is handled outside the feature module. You can keep it locally in the app or move it out to the server. However you like to do it, just remember, do not hard code your flow. And of course, we automated the end-to-end testing process and the user acceptance testing by adapting to BDD fully, having a good coverage of unit testing for business logic, and we run regular regression and exploratory testing on top. Last one, distribution. So remember, how you write your project isn't the same as how you distribute it. While the code is maintained in one place, but you have option how you can bundle it. And there are pros and cons. You can bundle one app for all country, but then the release process is complicated. Imagine if you want to add one feature for country A, you have to release a new version of your app for all countries. The testing process is difficult because of that. You can't just test something in isolation, but you must test everything every time when something changed. Last, your app is going to be quite big in size because of the code and the SDK it might contain. Or you might want to distribute multiple apps for multiple countries. It seems like to be a better idea, but your user might need to install more than one app if they travel internationally often. The app itself is lighter, but the pipeline will be quite complicated, where your build process needs to be smarter to include and exclude certain features, to inject things dynamically, and maybe testing is going to be even longer because of that. So let's just say that it's usually most difficult to build something from 0 to 1, and I feel we are at somewhere very close to 1, maybe 0.8, 0.9, but still we have achieved quite a lot within 3 quarters. So first, after a few spikes on various cross-platform framework in comparing to native libraries, we decided to use Flutter for this one platform project. And we're about to launch our alpha version of the app very soon in the Indian market. We have defined an automated release and testing system, and we have started to build it. We also avoided for a big bang release, and instead, we followed good practice of incremental development, starting from MVP to a final product. In the end, we have also expanded the team, doubling the size to 20 Android engineers and Flutter engineers. We run regular Android and Flutter community of practice and workshop to help the team maintain and expand their skill set. And in the end, we are hiring in different locations, in London, Sofia, and in Hyderabad. So if you like our project, welcome to join our team. Thank you.